What's up, YouTube? It's artisanmc, and this will be my take 2 of my reaction to House of the Dragon, Episode 6. Now, I'm a little remiss that I was not doing episodic reviews of this series, but because I did not know the story, I didn't want to just jump in and start reviewing it without knowing enough about it to give you guys any background. I thought I would be not giving you enough good information. But in retrospect, I see that that was actually the way I should have went. Because I'm coming to it fresh, some of you might be coming to it fresh, it would have been beneficial to show you those reactions to what I was seeing and seeing how much love was being engendered for this show. Because at this point, with everything that's come out in the last month and a half, this is one of my favorite watches. At 6 episodes, I'm already engaged with it. I look forward to seeing it every week. I do. I legitimately look forward to seeing it every week. And this week, episode 6 did not disappoint in that vein. It was a good episode. It was the first episode where they had a large time jump outside of a year. This time it was 10 years. And they did something really innovative to me in the sense that halfway through your season, you switch actors. The main actors are gone. The ones that you liked for 5 episodes are out of there. And it's 2 new people in those lead roles, older people playing the same characters. And now you're running with the character. So it is you believing them as that character is solely based on the performance that was done before by the younger actors and their performance as the older actor, what they pick up, what they bring to the role that makes you see that similarity and understanding, okay, this is Rhaenyra, this is Alicent, this is Sir Laenor. You get that from the older actors. They do a good job of doing that, and while most people thinks it was questionable to do that, switching them out and having this big of a time jump, I actually enjoy the fact that there was that big of a time jump, because I've said this on my stream many a times. I like seeing the way things develop and being able to skip ahead 10 years and see how things developed and where things are now after you had the first 5 episodes of setup for how things were developing in their relationship. It's good to see 10 years later to see how, this shit has gone almost completely off the rails right now. They don't trust each other. Rhaenyra and Alicent don't trust each other. They're really looking after their kids and really thinking that the other one will do the other woman in and her children and kill them off. And really how they actually play this Game of Thrones of trying to maneuver themselves into a good position and protect themselves at the same time. It's like a chess game. It's a chess game played with women in wombs at this point, right? So, excuse me. The show opens up with the new lead actress playing the character of Rhaenyra Targaryen, and you see that it opens with her giving birth. Now, this is where I was really gotten to this episode right off the bat, right? You see her having a hard birth. You don't know who this person is necessarily until the episode starts evolving and the scene starts going on. And then you get that it's Rhaenyra. That it's Rhaenyra Targaryen and she's having a child. And everything else fills you in on what's been happening over the last 10 years within that little span of dialogue. That this is not her first child. Like she said in her last episode that she was never having kids. She didn't want to have any kids. She didn't want to do that part of it. She wanted to just be with who she wanted to be with. 10 years later, you see, not only has she had a child, not only is she having a child, she got 2 other ones too. This is her 3rd one. She had knocked out 3 and 10. Okay? That she was not above having to do that duty to king and crown, right? She had to do that for the succession and the lineage. She had to knock out some kids. So shout out to her having to change her mind, and shout out to my daughter This is how this shit plays out. Catch up with you later on in life, right? But be that as it may, you see that Rhaenyra is having what I would consider a pretty hard delivery. She's having a hard delivery because she in there just really grunting it out, trying to get that baby out, right? And it's a pretty impactful scene to have a grown woman playing that because she may have had a child before. So it's not something she's making up in her head. She could probably remember what that felt like. So she's given something to this scene a lot more than you would expect, right? Sorry, she got ass. Jesus. Anyway, threw me off. You see that in this moment where Rhaenyra is happy, she finally pushed this baby out. Thank God. The delivery part is over. She's getting a look at her. She has a new son. She's kind of happy. In comes a handmaiden saying that the queen wants to see the baby right now. Now this gets into some, I'm black, this gets into some bitch shit right there. That is some cold shit. That you're already understanding who the queen is. What the queen is to Rhaenyra, which is her old friend Alicent, who became her queen and stepmother, right? When they used to be friends and girlfriends, right? She's demanding to see this baby right now. Umbilical cord ain't even cut. Baby face ain't even really wiped off. She want to see this baby right now, and you need to bring it to me. Well, Rhaenyra in this scene shows her strength, that she still has that spunk, and she don't want to play that shit with Alicent, so she says, no, I'll take him. I'll take him myself. So she walks the baby to the queen. Now, this is the scene where I heard some other reviewers get kind of weirded out that the woman got up and walked away, right? And walked to go do it when she shouldn't be doing it. Yes, but I will say that women can do that if they don't have epidurals. If they don't have epidurals, they can walk afterwards because they have not had the shot to the spine that numb their whole lower body, where they have no control over their lower body. If they had a natural childbirth with no drugs, they can't get up and walk. They probably don't want to, but they can. Okay, they can. It can happen, but it is a force of will to do it, and that's what this actress brings to that scene as Rhaenyra. She's showing that it's a force of will. She's doing it out of fucking spite. Like, fuck this bitch. Yeah, you'll see my child. I'll bring it to you. Now, on her way to leave her bed chamber, the birthing chamber, she hasn't even dropped her afterbirth or anything like that yet. It's coming out right when she's getting up to go. You get the introduction of the new actor playing Sir Laenor, being of the Valerian house. Now, it could be said that this guy could be seen as ineffectual, and not really aware of what was going on in the situation. Like, he's too much of a handmaiden to her. In those days, that's what kings and people did. They weren't in the room for all that birth and shit. They weren't there for that. They were there for the procreation. They were not there for the the delivery. That was not part of what the dude did. They were not there for that. They didn't want no parts of that. They had no parts in that. They got to sit outside the room and wait, smoke a cigarette with everybody else or whatever, you know. But he wasn't in there for that. So while it seems like he's being really weak by let me help you or what can you do, it's more to me in the scene is playing how Rhaenyra treats him. She treats him like a little bit of a bitch. She treats him like a footstool. I mean, she's not talking to him much different than she's talking to the rest of the women in the room. But she does give him a little derision of not being there. It's like, well, where the fuck was he going to be? In there holding your hand? What the fuck? Right? So, Laenor comes up to her and actually wants to help her to the queen. And you get to see, you're seeing how much of a struggle it is for her, but you're getting the context of what's going on in the castle at this time and how people interact with them at that time, which I thought was a really good scene. It was a good way on this journey from her bedchamber to the queen's chamber to see how people regard and deal with them. Now, you get into this bedchamber and you get introduced to the new actress that's playing Allison, right? Which is good. And she is really good. She's given this strength. Whereas in the first 5 episodes you saw Allison, she was young, she was kind of happy, kind of naive, kind of nervous and shit, picking her nails and whatnot. But Rhaenyra was her friend. And close to episode 4 and 5, she started having an issue with Rhaenyra because Rhaenyra was shirking her fucking duty and doing this stuff that was unbecoming. She went to bat for it and turned out the bitch was lying. So she kind of fucked up with that, especially since it got her father like booted out the kingdom. She kind of pissed, right? She kind of pissed with Rhaenyra. She wants to see this baby, and the new actress does a really good job of portraying that where Allison was nervous and all this stuff in the first 5 episodes, episode 6, she is the queen. She's the queen. She is giving orders and commands and she ain't having no fucks given about it. None. Yeah, they might have been friends at one time, but right now they are not friends, and she is calling her ass on the carpet because that is her subject, her stepdaughter. I need to see what this child looks like, because there is the suspicion, which I don't know, looks pretty obvious to me, that these 3 children that Rhaenyra has had is not from Sir Laenor. They're not his kids. And sure enough, she looks at him, and this baby got dark hair, and Rhaenyra got the Targaryen white hair, and Sir Laenor, who's a Valyrian, got that customary white hair, and this child has dark hair like a motherfucker. Which is like, yeah, that's kind of obvious. His kids. And I think this is where I was against it in the beginning. I thought it was absolutely patently ridiculous that they had these black people put into this show with this white yarn looking hair on to be these, descendants of ancient Valyrians, right? I thought it was stupid. The actors were good. I just thought they looked stupid, right? But in this scene, it plays it up more because they're dark-skinned. Rhaenyra has married this dark-skinned, Valyrian man. They both have this customary white hair, which is part of their family line. These 3 kids that they have ain't his. These motherfuckers is lily white and dark hair. And everybody's like, it's a rumor that these might not be his kids. And I'm like, God damn, is that a commentary on current times? Like, that ain't your son, dude. That is not your kid. No, of course it's not his kid. Them kids don't look shit like him. But because she is the king's daughter, nobody will make that accusation out loud because it could end in exile and death. But everybody just looks side-eye like, okay, this is his kid, huh? All right, tell me anything, right? But in this scene, Allison does look at those kids. And she tells Sir Laenor, like, don't worry, keep trying. Eventually you will have one that looks like you. And I'm like, damn, this bitch right here. Allison goes in for the throat. That was fucked up, dude. That was some fucked up shit. That was fucked up. It's basically telling him she knows that ain't his goddamn child. That she knows that Rhaenyra is stepping out with somebody. But you saw in the last episode that Rhaenyra and Sir Laenor actually made a deal. They both had their proclivities. Sir Laenor liked dudes, but he married her to do his duty. Rhaenyra don't necessarily like him. She liked fucking these other dudes. But they made a deal with each other to do their duty and get married, and they would be free to do whatever they did, and that's what they're doing. That's what they've been doing for 10 years. So they have an interesting little relationship where they can actually talk with each other and be real with each other, but knowing we doing our duty, which I thought was interesting for the show because as messed up as it sounds, they actually have the most functioning fucking relationship. In a sense, they do because they're just being themselves. They're just being themselves, and they gave each other room to just be their fucking selves. Serlaner like getting jabbed with the lance. Rhaenyra like sleeping with the knights. It's just what it is. At least she only found one. She just found her favorite knight that she likes, protecting the crown. So in this scene, the person that I actually felt the worst for, it wasn't Rhaenyra being under suspicion of Alicent, looking for that confirmation that this is not their child. It's not Alicent throwing shade on Sir Leonard for these not being his goddamn kids, and him still saying, "Oh, he's father" and whatever. Like, okay, stepdaddy vibes, right? It's when the King Viserys comes in, and I feel so bad for this brother. God damn, he looks terrible. He looks absolutely terrible. He looks like a ghost of himself walking. Motherfucker lost his arm. He walking huddled over. Dude, he looked worse than Walter Frey before he got his fucking neck slit. Like, god damn, can't nobody do anything. He looks bad. He looks horrible. And it just feeds into the fact that King Viserys is not a bad dude. He's not. He's just an ineffective king. And he's basically like somebody who got put on the throne but never really wanted that. He didn't want that shit. He wanted to be doing what he was doing, building stuff and whatnot. He is probably more of an intellectual than he wanted to be a king and have power and stuff like that. But it's one of those things that comes up when you have positions of succession and stuff like that. Possibly the person who wants it the most would not be the best king, which is Daemon. Daemon wants it the most, but Daemon wouldn't be a good king because Daemon's kind of cruel and cold. Viserys would probably be the better king out of the two of them, but he doesn't really want that shit. He just does it. He just does it, and he's not that effective at it in some senses because he's non-confrontational. He don't want all this fighting and shit. He just want peace. You just want peace, let everybody live, drink your wine, eat your food, marry, have children, be happy, just do that. But he will not deal with the conflict that's at his door most of the time. That's what makes him ineffective. And be it that he has this disease that's slowly breaking him down, it's like, nigga, you need a milk of the poppy IV drip. Like, yuck. Oh, God. I feel bad for him because he just looks like a shell of himself. More and more every episode, and that's taking a lot. And that's saying a lot from where he went, from a bad cut on his finger to I lost fingers, my hand is scaled up, now I've lost my whole arm. Like, shit, dude. Is he going to even be in a wheelchair after this? Like, what's next? Just a head on a pillow? Fuck. So I feel bad for him when he came in. Now, him seeing Rhaenyra's child, he's happy. He's happy for Rhaenyra. He kisses the baby, all that shit. Oh, he has his father's nose and shit. Okay. Goddamn well it don't look like Sir Leonard. He knows that, but he won't say it. And this is what's interesting. He's more concerned about his family and his daughter having children and adding to that family line than he is about busting her ass out about these are not your husband's children. These are not your husband's children. I may not know exactly who they are, but I can tell they is, right? That was actually a bit interesting to me because it shows where he sides. He just wants this family to live on. And he was pressed into a point when he married Alicent that there wasn't going to be anybody else. So the king is happy that he has another new grandson, and Alicent is kind of pissed off because she knows that Rhaenyra ain't she is not playing right. She's been messing around and having these babies by somebody else, right? So these are actually bastard children. These are not Sir Laener's kids. Now, she lets Rhaenyra and Sir Laener leave, and Rhaena and Sir Laener have a conversation on the way out about how things are gathering around them, and that there are some moves that need to be made. And you see that the whole time that Rhaenyra has walked to this woman's, the queen's chambers, and is leaving, she is just dripping blood. She is just dripping blood all down the hall and everything. But you're seeing her grit in dealing with this shit. She is not going to be cowed by this woman. She refuses. Friend or not, that shit was long ago. They are not really friends right now. Now, this gets into the rest of the episode where you see, and I'm just going to speed this up a little bit so you actually watch the episode. You find out where Daemon has been, and that Daemon is actually hooked up with Sir Laener's sister, Lena. Fucking hell, dude. They keep fucking me up with these names. But this is the young girl that King Viserys was supposed to marry. Daemon has actually married her. Now, if you saw in last episode, Daemon killed his other wife. Killed his other wife. Got him a new wife with that Valyrian stock from Lord Corlys's daughter, which was, I can't say her fucking name, Elena. There we go, Elena. And with Elena, he has went over to Pentos, and he's had 2 children. He had a pair of twin girls. Now, this is the funny part with this whole thing, because you see a lot of interracial relationships going on in this show right now, but it's not really played up as anything. I don't hear the cast or the people who produced the show coming out yelling about how diverse they are or nothing like that. And it's just like, yeah, we put these people in this role. That's just what it is. You know, they just moving on with telling their story in the show. And this is something that they're doing a lot better than Rings of Power, is that, yeah, they made some switches, but they just made the switches and went on. They didn't try to make a huge political statement about it and saying something about it every episode, how much you need to accept this because it's so diverse. They didn't say shit. Yeah, we cast against type and just moved on with the story. That's why I think it's working a lot better than what's going on in Rings of Power. Rings of Power is trying to beat you over the head with, you should like this because we did this. House of the Dragon is just, yeah, we changed them, but look what's going on with the story. We got dragons and shit. One works better than the other one. Now, you see Daemon here in Pentos with his wife, and they have a good conversation. They have a good relationship. You can tell that she actually loves Daemon. But Daemon is a little bit like he really doesn't care, which I don't doubt. I don't doubt that Daemon really doesn't care that much for her. He likes her enough. It was a power move. It was a power play that he did. But he don't really care about that much. I don't think he does. I don't think he really cares about them damn kids. Not the way Sir Laener cares about fucking Rhaenyra's obviously bastard children. He playing daddy and everything. Daemon is like, yeah, I'll talk to the one girl because she could ride a dragon, but this other one, like, what the fuck ever, dude. He uninterested with all of them. It was a move that he made for power, and he's just dealing with it. But I really don't think he has any desire to be married to that chick if it wasn't about furthering him in some way, making him a king in some kind of form or fashion. He wouldn't give a shit. To me, he actually really does want Rhaenyra. He does want his niece. Targaryens, man, they weird like that. But either as it may, he's in Pentos and he has children, and Elena is pregnant with another child, and you get the second birthing scene in there where her birth is not going well at all. Now, mind you, I didn't think Rhaenyra's birth was going well. Elena's birth is definitely not going well. She is having a problematic birth to the hilt. And towards later on in the episode, you see that Yeah, they can't get that baby out. And the most interesting part is Daemon is faced with the same situation his brother King Viserys was faced with, that he joked on his ass about, and now he has to make that damn decision. And that's how life is. You don't make jokes about people's misfortune because it can be yours. And they'll see how you deal with the shit afterwards. So from there on, you get some other stuff that I won't spoil for people. I do have one issue with this scene because I didn't think how it plays out for Elena would happen that way. I didn't think it would happen that way. I didn't think that was actually possible. But I'll talk about it on Shop Talk some other time after people have seen the episode. But other than that, you get some other side stories with Kristen Cole. You see that he is Alicent's Kingsguard. He's totally in her camp right now, and he is a fucking dick now. He is a total dick now. Talking shit and everything else, just being a little ass with these kids of Rhaenyra and Alicent. He is like a fucknut right now. He is a dick. He is really a dick. And I can say that for this episode. 10 years later, you see a lot of people who you thought was actually nice just become fucking terrible ass people. They do become assholes. They do. Time does not make them sweeter. It makes them more sour, dude. So Kristen is more pissed off at Rhaenyra for, besmirching his honor and stuff like that and having these little bastard children. Alicent is mad at her for having these bastard kids. She mad at them for having an issue with her. Like, goddamn, dude. Like, all these people was just pissed off at each other for some little shit that ain't got nothing to do with mostly any of them. All the choices that they actually made. So that's why I really enjoyed this time jump to say, okay, 10 years later, where did this little seed grow into? It grew into these big-ass trees of shit dropping on people. Like, man. So Kristen actually instigates a situation on the practice yard with the children because he is actually playing favorites with Alicent's children versus Rhaenyra's children. And he's really gruff and rough with Rhaenyra's children and not as such with Alicent. And Harwin Strong, he the pappy, is actually calling Sir Christian on that shit. And Sir Kristen, in a really Game of Thrones kind of way, he just gets at Harwin. Because at first they use the kids to go at each other to try to prove which person is right in the situation. And then it ends up that Kristen just pushes it a little bit more and says something to Harwin Strong, alluding to the fact that he knows that these are his children. And Harwin lays his ass out, which is reminiscent of the last episode where Christian laid into Joffrey Longmouth and crushed his goddamn head. That Sir Harwin Strong is giving Christian some of that shit. 10 years later, you get what you deserve. And he getting some of it. But when it resolves, you find out that that's all Christian wanted. He wanted to provoke Harwin into reacting so the king could see it. So the king could see that reaction. And what happens after that is that Harwin's father, who is the hand of the king, talks to his son and tells him how vulnerable they've made their house and their position and with all the whispers that's going on. And he, in fact, goes to King Viserys and tries to resign as being hand of the king. And Viserys don't want to hear that shit. Now, there's a little bit more that goes in with that. Like why Alicent is pissed off about that and what happens later on, but I won't spoil that because this is kind of long. This is almost 30 minutes right now on a recording. Not alive, so that's different memory-wise. But I will say, end it right here and say I really enjoyed this episode. And like I said, I wish I would have did more episodic reviews of this, but episode 5, episode 4, episode 5, episode 6 have not been disappointments to me. It's not good in the sense that there's a lot of action happening, but there is a lot of action happening in the dialogue, in the setup of the characters, and the development of these characters that gets you involved in their life and what decisions they're making and what spins out of those decisions that they're making, the consequences of the decisions they're making. That what makes it a more interesting, grounded show, rather than just some chick running around being mean and I'm better than all the rest of you and you should just listen to me. It's a better show than Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, for less money. For less money, it's a better show. So that's it. Like, share, subscribe, support the stream if you feel inclined. If you haven't been watching House of the Dragon, I definitely recommend you go ahead and binge on that. Get caught up to this 6-year mark, because it looks like from here on out, everything pop off. It start popping off with the kids. It start popping off with the rest of the adults. And it is now firmly placed on, this is down to the next generation now. It's not even on them no more. It's on to the next generation. These kids are going to be the ones who are in these fights with each other based on they mama's political maneuverings and placing them against each other. So I'll see you guys next time. Peace.